Hi, good morning, good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, good morning. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This particular session being a demo session,
Good evening,
I'm
sir.
streaming live on YouTube also. So I just wanted to see if anybody on YouTube can confirm that I'm audible and you are also able to see my screen. Can you please confirm? I'm visible. My screen is visible and I'm audible. Please confirm on YouTube, someone. I'm just okay, great. So now, this being a session about Azure DevOps, which is one of the hottest topic at this moment in the industry. That's where maximum number of jobs people are finding it. And worst problem, too much of confusion about what one should know, what one shouldn't have to worry about. That's one of the worst problems which the industry faces. So, what exactly are the aspects which one has to look at when they want to learn something like Azure DevOps? That's what we are going to learn in this particular entire syllabus. I mean, entire course. But even before that, guys, I have done a lot of sessions where I have actually did introduction to in general DevOps. What is DevOps? How should one think about DevOps? What are the benefits? How does an organization should create a strategy for Azure DevOps? All this I have covered in my main course. I don't want to again invest time on this. This is absolute theory. Absolute theory. What is waterfall model, agile development? What is DevOps and its benefit? What is CI/CD and the role DevOps engineers are going to perform? What is Azure DevOps? I would like to start from here. What exactly is Azure DevOps? That's what I would like to focus upon. I mean, I want to get more specific. So that's where we will start our journey of Azure DevOps. Yes, at the end of the session, I will take lot of your questions which you may have about the training, about the model of, about the methodology of delivery, and what are the prerequisites, who should do it, how the industry is looking up to the DevOps role in the future. These kind of things I would like to primarily focus on at the end of the day session today, last part. But right now, let us focus upon what is Azure DevOps. So let's begin with this. What is Azure DevOps? Now, in the agenda, I'm going to first talk about in general what is Azure DevOps, the history of Azure DevOps, how did it actually evolve, what are the main important features of Azure DevOps, why it has become so popular in such a short period of time. If you're taking an Azure DevOps roadmap, how is the entire project lifecycle managed? And maybe if time permits, we will see also how to set up an Azure DevOps account, how to create an organization, manage users, and invite teams. But in general, first, what is Azure DevOps? See, it is in the past referred as VSTS, Visual Studio Team Service. Only sometime in the year 2018 or 2019, I think 2018, they changed the term VSTS and they evolved a new product out of it that is called as Azure DevOps. That's how the evolution actually happened. Now, Azure DevOps is not one software. It's actually a collection of many services. It's a suite of services, we call it. Like when we talk about Microsoft 365, we have got Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, and many more products come as part of one single package. Likewise, Azure DevOps is a collection of services. It's a suite of services which are majorly used for collaboration between the developers and the IT engineers. How did this term came up? DevOps, developers. These are software developers. These are the ones who are actually going to build the applications. They are use programming language like C#, Java, Python, PHP, Ruby, Go language, and so many such languages are used by the vendors, the developers, and to build, and they are all going to build applications using that. So once the application are built, the next immediate step will be to move this application into an environment where the end user can consume it. So generally it is taken step by step. You have dev environment where the developers are going to run the application. Followed by dev environment, we have got QA environment. After QA, we want to move it into UAT environment, user acceptance testing. And after user acceptance testing is completed, we would like to move into a production environment. So basically, step by step, we want to move our application into production environment so that if there are any kind of problems which may arise because we are going for a new release, those can be captured in the early stages of the development itself. We don't want to deploy the application into production and then realize, wow, what did I do? We don't want to break our head after the application has been deployed into production, where the end users will get impacted, where they will start experiencing downtime. We don't want to go up to that particular stage. So there are a lot of tools and services in industry which can be used for this purpose. But Azure DevOps is like a supermarket. You go to the supermarket and you can buy many things over there, not just maybe only groceries, or not just the fruits, or not just the vegetables. I mean, you can buy multiple things from the supermarket at one time. Like that, Azure DevOps is a supermarket where there are lots of tools and services which are available for efficiently deploying the application. With the cooperation between the dev and the IT. And the applications which are deployed are going to remain very consistent. So DevOps has a lot of inbuilt functionality. That is, Azure DevOps by itself has a lot of built-in functionality which we can use for setting up and running and managing the entire project. But at the same time, they also provide a gallery of additional functionalities. Basically, plugins can be added. Like a supermarket can sell its own branded product, but at the same time, it can also sell products of other brands. DevOps is precisely like that. Microsoft has got their own products and services in Azure DevOps which are built in, but additional on top of it, they provide it through a gallery. Some plugins can be installed and extended. That's the kind of facility we get in Azure DevOps. You can quickly get up and running with many tools available. What are the different tools which are available in Azure DevOps? We have got agile tool like Kanban, Scrum project methodologies. See, nowadays the methodology which is followed for development is mostly agile. Gone are the days when people used to use waterfall model. And in agile methodology, the applications have to be delivered in parts, in chunks, small chunks. The applications have to be delivered. We want the end user to see how the development of the application is happening, the progress is happening. So maybe every 15 days, bi-weekly, or sometimes 3 weeks, or sometimes 4 weeks, based on the nature of the project, we would want end user to see some output, give some feedback, and based on that we should be able to proceed further. So the entire project is broken into multiple sprints. So how are these sprints created? How the entire project planning can be done? What are the items which have to be executed first? What should be done later? What is the capacity of the team required? How the task should be getting assigned to the team? All that thing we can do with the help of something called as Kanban board. Yes, Azure DevOps gives that kind of facility. The development is always something which has to be coordinated between multiple developers. A project is rarely developed nowadays by one person. No, it's not a single individual contribution. We would want to have collaboration between developers so that one developer is writing one module code, another developer is writing probably side by side another module code. Like that, different developers are building different pieces of code which have to be ultimately brought together. So we need one centralized repository from where the code sharing can happen. And for this, we need a most popular Git repository today. Yeah, there are other types of repositories, but Git has become default standard for managing source, managing version control. Azure DevOps has tools for Git repository, version control management, source control management, where the code can be shared by multiple developers. The heart, the main crux of the DevOps lies in creating CI/CD process. See, there has been always a manual process involved in deploying the application and a lot of human interaction, lot of dependency on different people to make the application go live from one environment to the other environment to the other environment and eventually to the production. And this would probably take days or weeks to complete it. Now with Azure DevOps, we can create CI, continuous integration, CD, continuous delivery, CI/CD pipelines can be created where this entire process can be automated. On a click of a button, the entire code step by step should get deployed into the different environments when with proper approvals. Just the click of the button, approvals can be provided. It can go from dev to the QA to the UAT to the production environment. You can even go to the extent of releasing the application multiple times in the same day. That much quick it has become nowadays. Yes, there are many built-in tasks which can be executed through the pipeline. But in addition to the built-in task, you can also extend your tasks list by way of adding certain third-party tasks in the gallery, or you can even write your own tasks for that matter. What is pipeline? The set of steps which a person would perform manually. Now we want to automate that. What I would do one by one on my local machine during development, the same thing I would do on a agent machine, and not by a human being but by a built-in process. That's what is CI/CD pipeline all about. So that is nothing but a collection of tasks or steps for which there are agents which are going to be used for execution. So you have in DevOps your own agents which we can use, or even there are agents created by Microsoft and given to us. One of the beautiful advantage, hosted agents. You don't have to build a machine. You use the machine, execute the pipeline on that machine, and you release the machine. Absolutely free. You're not charged anything for using the hosted agents. So yes, you can have your hosted agents, or you can create your own custom agents when you are using Azure DevOps. You have got dashboard for project managers, stakeholders. There is a dashboard where the entire project summary can be viewed. How many pipelines are in execution? How many tasks are completed? How many tasks are pending? What are the pipelines which are successful? What are the pipelines which have failed? When was the last release of the project done? When is the next release? Everything you can write in a dashboard. And eventually you also have a wiki where you can create your own list of documents. You can add your own annexures, you can add your own images, you can write text, format text. Everything can be done in the wiki. So end to end, in short, if I tell you everything which is needed in a routine DevOps project, you'll find built in into Azure DevOps, a series of products. So going back to the history, yes, even before that, Azure DevOps is available in two flavors. First, most important thing, Azure DevOps is not Azure. I repeat, when I use the word Azure DevOps, understand that it's not Azure, it is different. They just used the word Azure to relate it with Microsoft community, but it's not Azure at all. It's DevOps. Focus should be on DevOps. Sometimes people also call it as ADO, Azure DevOps. ADO is a common name industry uses for Azure DevOps. So we have got two products in Azure DevOps. I would say actually one product and one service. Azure DevOps Server is a product. You have to buy that software and you create the infrastructure within your organization network and deploy the product in your infrastructure. You don't need any connectivity with the internet. Once you have deployed the application in one of the machines in your network, in that particular machine, you can make use of the entire application from. So all the applications in your on-premise, if they have to be deployed, they can go via this Azure DevOps server running in on-premise. Same thing is moved into cloud. The product which is on-premise is moved into cloud, and that's what we are calling it as Azure DevOps Service. Now, definitely, like everything else, the entire industry wants to use a service rather than using a product. You keep getting on a regular basis the upgraded features, which you don't get in Azure DevOps Server unless you probably upgrade it to the next version, or you have to download and install those updates manually. Or even if a new feature comes much ahead of time, it will be there in Azure DevOps Service than it is going to be released in Azure DevOps Server. Very important, Azure DevOps Service can be used for deploying applications in cloud, as well as the same set of services can also be used for deploying applications in our on-premise environment. There is no such rule that for on-premise deployment we should use DevOps Server and for cloud we should use Azure DevOps Services. No. Also, mind you, Azure DevOps is not tightly coupled with Azure. Don't assume that Azure DevOps can be used only if you are using Azure as the cloud. Absolutely rubbish. ADO, Azure DevOps, can be used even if you want to deploy applications into AWS cloud, GCP cloud. You want to deploy into any environment where there are servers, you can make use of Azure DevOps. How does it all happen? We'll see that later. But Azure DevOps is not tightly coupled to Azure. It is a software, a collection of softwares which can be used for deploying application into any appropriately set up environment. Very, very, very important. So coming to the history, We have got Azure DevOps starting from 2005. In the year 2006, they gave Visual Studio 2005 TS, Team Service. That's when the entire product, this is a product, on-premise. Whenever I write here on-premise, it's a product. Sometime in 2012, they came up with TFS, Team Foundation Server, Team Foundation Service, but that was in preview. And later stages, a Team Foundation Server was given, and they changed Team Foundation Service to Visual Studio Online. So whenever you see cloud, it's a service. Whenever you see on-premise, it's a product. So there was a product and there is a service which was parallelly going and happening here. So eventually they gave TFS 2013, TFS 2015. Then came a very big revolution in DevOps in the form of VSTS, Visual Studio Team Service. But even at this point of time, it was more inclined towards Microsoft tools, Microsoft environment, which they eventually converted into more of open in 2018 with Azure DevOps Services. And then came the server product in 2019. So that's how the evolution happened. You don't have to really worry about it. The point is, Azure DevOps is not something absolute new. It did not just come up. It has an history since 2005. That means all the experience of 2005 and then onwards has been used in creating Azure DevOps as a collection of services, as a suite of services by Microsoft. When Microsoft realized everything is converting to cloud, they had to adapt everything which is there in the industry. They could not say use only Microsoft product. No. Lot of things were open source, lot of things were native, but industry was becoming very dynamic in choosing different services on cloud. So they changed the whole strategy and changed from VSTS to Azure DevOps Cloud. And that's when the revolution happened again in the industry. And just vertical, it started growing. There is no product which is today as easy and as simple and as feature rich as Azure DevOps in the industry. Basically, it's a supermarket. Others are not giving you supermarket. Others are all Kirana shop. You have to go to each individual shop and buy what you want. Here, everything under one umbrella. That's the advantage what we get with Azure DevOps. So yes, this is what is all Azure DevOps about. Now that you understand what is Azure DevOps, let's look at the features of Azure DevOps. So here I would like to take you through the Azure DevOps portal, which is dev.azure.com. How to create your own Azure DevOps account, we'll cover that later. Right now, I just sign in. It will take me to Azure portal. It has redirected me to Azure portal. Now go back to dev.azure.com. I should have clicked on start free. It will take me to a DevOps organization. It is supposed to take me to a DevOps organization. Sometimes it takes us back to Azure portal. Then we'll have to mention explicitly the organization name. I'll do that. This is a little confusing. Yeah, see, I have come now to Azure DevOps organization. Sandeep Soni is the organization in Azure DevOps. Under this organization, these are all projects. Let's go to one project. And you see, we have got overview, dashboard, wiki. You can create your own wiki project and add pages to that wiki project. Azure boards, work item, boards, backlogs, sprints, queries, delivery plans, analytic views, repositories, your code repository, different commits. Whenever you have pushed the code, if you have multiple branches, tags, if you have provided, various pull requests, pipelines, the third category. You can create CI pipeline, release pipeline. You can create reusable libraries, test plans, and artifacts. So all these things, boards, repositories, pipelines, test plans, and Azure artifacts. These are what Azure DevOps is majorly made up of. So Azure DevOps features, you see same thing, Azure boards, Azure repos, Azure pipelines, Azure test plans, and Azure artifacts. When to use which one? You can use one or more of the following features based on your business needs. You don't have to use all of them. You may not even use all of them from Microsoft. You might use some of these, and you might probably want to go for some of the third party tools and integrate them. So what is Azure boards? This is what we use for agile planning of the application. We create Kanban boards where we can do drag and drop of tasks, where the developers can be assigned the tasks. We can have bugs listed. We can have sprints created. We can attach the tasks list to the sprint. And for the sprint, we can calculate how much will be the delivery time. What is the total number of resources available and number of hours they are going to contribute, how much outcome can be generated. All these things we will manage through Azure boards. Delivers a suite of agile tools to support planning and tracking, entire project planning using agile methodology with not only code, source code, not only the new features, but also the defects and issues. And there are different methodologies, Kanban boards and Scrum methods can be used. That's what is Azure boards all about. You plan, track, and discuss work across teams. You can actually create small teams and assign the task to the team if you want. Then comes the repos, basically a Git repository. Everybody knows GitHub, very popular Git repository. GitHub is massive. Earlier, GitHub was not a Microsoft product. So VSTS, TFS, they had their own repository. Now Azure repos, Azure itself has got a repository here. And that repository we are calling it as Azure repos. By itself, there is a Git repository. So today, you have choice of using either Azure repos or you can use GitHub. Their basic function is same. I'm talking about the repository aspect of it. GitHub is actually a little more powerful. It can do a lot of things other than version control. There are a lot of other collaboration things which we can do in GitHub. But now GitHub is also Microsoft product and Azure repos is also Microsoft product. Microsoft took over Azure GitHub. They purchased it. So you have choice today to use Azure repos or Azure or GitHub, but both because they are based on common Git Git is common. Git repository feature is common in both of them. It's going to work in a very similar way. There can be some legacy projects which are pretty old projects which have been using not Git repositories but using TFVC, Team Foundation Version Control. That's a different way of managing source code. We are going to cover later. This is distributed version control system. This is centralized version control system. There are two different version control systems which are practiced in the industry. So we will see what is the difference between both of them. But at this point of time, Azure Repos supports both. When you create a project, you have a choice of either this or that. Say for example, I go to the organization, and in the organization I create a new project. At the time of creating a new project, I can choose between Git and TFVC. Which one I want, I can use it. So that's the advantage which Azure Repos provide. This is additional. So if your project is still continuing to use TFVC, you don't have choice but to use Azure Repos only. But if you want to use Git, you have the choice of either Azure Repos or GitHub. Then pipelines. Pipelines are basically used for performing different tasks, as I explained earlier. And these tasks will create a build, some executable, and this executable is deployed into some environment. So every pipeline has a CI pipeline, continuous integration pipeline, which is responsible for taking care of performing a build of your project, and a CD pipeline which is responsible for releasing your project into different environments. Entire process is automated, and I'll explain this shortly how it is done. Yes, this is the major part of the Azure DevOps. CI/CD that works with any language. There's a misconception that CI/CD pipelines can be used only with .NET. No, you might use it with .NET, you might use it with Java, you might use it with Python. With Python, it is the simplest. You have to only do copy. But with .NET, Java, there is a process which has to be performed. There is a series of steps which have to be executed to ensure that the project is properly built. So all those things we can add here. You can connect to GitHub. Not necessary you should connect to Azure Repos. Even for that matter, like Azure Boards, there is a Kanban feature which is built in, but you don't have to use Azure Boards. You might use some third-party softwares which are equivalent to Azure Board for project management. Let's say Jira, Atlassian project. Atlassian has given Jira, and for a long time people have been using Jira. So if you want to continue Jira for project management, you can do that. And you can work with Azure Repos. If not, you can go to GitHub. You can go to Bitbucket. You can go to GitLabs. From there, you can take the code repository. And then you can build a pipeline over here. You can connect to GitHub or any Git repository and deploy continuously to any cloud. And here also, CI, you can do it in Jenkins if you want. And CD, you do it in Azure DevOps. So there is no hard and fast rule that you must use Azure DevOps tools only. They're not very strongly coupled to each other. You might use Jira, you might use GitHub, Bitbucket, you might use in place of CI pipeline, you might use something like Jenkins, and then do the delivery through Azure DevOps, CD pipeline. Then this is something which is not available in others. Test plans, several tools for testing your applications. It can be manual testing, exploratory testing, continuous testing, which is very important for ensuring that we don't deliver project with bugs. So entire test toolkit is available over here. With this in place, we are very confident that the project is perfectly working in every environment before it's moved into the higher environment, eventually into production. And then we have another beautiful feature of Azure DevOps which is not there otherwise, is Azure Artifacts. When you want to work with reusable components in .NET, we use NuGet packages. When we want to use reusable packages in Java, we may go for Maven packages. Like that, for Node.js development, we use NPM packages, NPM library. So there are different packages provided by different repositories on internet. Maven repositories are different, NPM is different, NuGet is different. What if my organization wants to do development in some .NET, some Java, some Node.js, some Python? Multiple platforms are being used. And I want to restrict my developers to use only certain packages. I don't want them to use all the packages, because probably my organization does not trust all the packages which are there on the industry. That's when we can bring Azure artifacts into the picture. We can create packages and host them into Azure artifacts. This can be our custom packages, custom Java packages, custom NPM packages, custom NuGet packages. And at the same time, we can connect the Azure artifact to the, let's say, NuGet gallery. Downstream, it can be connected like a upstream. So when the developer is trying to access a package, it will check if it is there in Azure Artifact. If it is not there in Azure Artifact, it will pull it from the NuGet gallery. So like this, things can be done and managed through Azure Artifact. A lot of people in the industry are using this today, just to host reusable packages which can be used during development and also during the continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline. The packages which are hosted here can be evaluated and trusted, or even can be configured for security to be accessible to only few users who are authorized to, and not to everyone. You can share your packages with others with security implemented. So these are the powers, and of course with adding extensions. See, you can actually go to Azure DevOps, and here you will find a marketplace, and in the marketplace you can go to gallery of extensions. There is a huge gallery, huge. The many by the vendor themselves, like SonarQube is by SonarSource. They are the actual vendor of this particular product. The many by Microsoft. The features which are not built into Azure DevOps, they can be integrated from here. There are many by third party. General public also can post their reusable components in this particular gallery. So all DevOps extensions, you can search and use them. Decently big list. And there are many more. The story doesn't end here. There are different categories for Azure boards. Ready, rich. So this is extension which we can provide in Azure DevOps. Extensible, and that's the beauty. You can use Campfire, Slack, Trello, Voice. You can integrate with Teams. Lot of management of the Azure board items, work items can be done through Teams itself. You can simply give approval through Teams or maybe through Slack. You can also build your own custom extensions. If you have a development team, they can be deployed to build their custom extensions and integrate into Azure DevOps. So a lot of integration with industry and community tools. For example, I want to work with, imagine, AWS. Just search for AWS. And you will find AWS Toolkit for Azure DevOps. Integrate this, and this is by Amazon.com. This is by Amazon. So if somebody is using Azure DevOps, using this toolkit, they can deploy into AWS. You want to do Terraform integration. You want to do Ansible. Just name and you'll find it over here. And you see, this is by Microsoft and these are by some other people. Not necessary by Microsoft. And sometimes these are more popular. You can actually do a review. Select this and see how many people have installed it. What is their feedback? If you are happy and you trust, use it. If you don't trust Microsoft, if you don't have problem with third-party extensions, you can get them 27 reviews only, but all positive reviews. How to use them. You see, everything is a task. Everything in DevOps is a task. These tasks will have to add to the pipeline. So it is far from closed off single vendor. No, that concept is gone now. That's what was the policy of Microsoft in the past. One vendor, one product, one set of features. No, now there's a huge market which they have entered into through a marketplace. Hundreds of extensions available. So if Azure DevOps doesn't do something out of the box, odds are tools exist in the marketplace which does. And this integration is very rich feature of Azure DevOps. So these are the main features. This is what one has to be expertised in when they are planning to go for Azure DevOps, right from Azure boards to repos to pipelines to test plans and the artifacts. But how are these things got into the scene? Let's look at the Azure DevOps tools with the project lifecycle. How everything happens. Let's say the first thing happens is a customer comes up with an requirement. He has an idea and he knows the requirement is in 2-3 lines. He has an idea, but there is no clarity, or he is not able to probably convert it into technical language very easily. His language will be like an end user. I want an application which can probably capture my photograph and make an analysis, and maybe based on certain parameters generate some kind of report. He will tell like this. So his requirements will be very vague. Basically, there will be a story. That story, the business analyst role or the product owner himself will translate into a requirement of backlogs. What are these backlog? Work items. A login page has to be created. A registration page has to be created. An about us page has to be created. A feature list page has to be created. This screen should probably look like this. That's what is the business analyst job. Understand the non-technical stuff and to the extent possible, convert it into a technical jargon, technical language. And once all these things are listed in the Kanban board, which is part of Azure boards, the engineering team will be responsible for creating sprints. Multiple sprints will be created. That means now you have a clear plan. Okay, in first 2 weeks, these are the things we are supposed to deliver. Next 2 weeks, these are the things we have to deliver. Next 2 weeks, bi-weekly or monthly, as per your convenience, based on the type of project. Planning has to be done for different work items which have to be completed. And with those work items, a sprint has to be created. Sprint is nothing but a collection of work items. And then we have got users, which are grouped into teams to which these work items are going to be assigned, where the capacity planning will be done. I need 8 hours of development effort for this particular feature. I want 2 hours of testing effort for this particular feature. I want 3 hours of database queries and testing for this particular feature. So different roles, designer, developer, tester, all these things will be planned properly so that there is no estimation which can go wrong tomorrow because of certain reasons. We try to be as close as possible to what we want to deliver. So capacity planning, how many hours each type of resource can contribute, excluding their holidays, vacations, all that planning can be done in these 2 weeks. I have so many hours for each category, and for these hours, these are the people to whom I can assign. Capacity planning can be done. And once the capacity planning is done, items are assigned to the developers. Developers will now be responsible for picking up one item at a time and doing a software development. So developers pick up the backlogs, the work items or the bugs. And for each work item, they will start writing code in their respective language. They will do the entire development on their local machine first. But once the code is developed on their local machine, they want to merge their code with others' code in a central location where the entire code repository is present. And during that process, we also want our code to be reviewed by others. I cannot claim I'm the best developer in this world and I write the best code and nobody can probably challenge my code. No such nonsense here. There is always something better which can be done. There is always a scope of improvement. So the developer, when he writes code, he will submit the code for review by his peers or by his leaders. Code reviewers will be there, for which pull requests have to be created in Azure repos. And once the code has been reviewed, it will go into the main branch. On that main branch, once the code reaches, we would like to trigger a pipeline. Yes, when the developer writes, he is going to use the reusable artifacts packages from Azure Artifacts, and is also going to reuse during CI/CD pipeline. Once the code is pushed into the proper branch, a CI/CD pipeline will begin. It will trigger a CI pipeline first. CI pipeline will be responsible for producing some published artifacts, we call it. Something which is ready to be deployed. That is the output of a CI pipeline. And of course, these pipelines also will use the packages directly from the Azure Artifact. Once the CI pipeline completes the task, we would now want to deploy this into different environment. It all starts with first deploying into test environment. When it is deployed into test environment, the testers will start testing the application. And if there are any kind of bugs, they will start logging them in Azure boards, so that those items can be either in the same sprint resolved, or if could not be completed in same sprint, they should be carried to the next sprint. If the bug is logged here, that will also get notified to the developer. Developer will pick up that particular bug item, start working on it, make changes to the code, again submit for code review. The reviewer will review the code, submit for CI pipeline, and again it will be built, deployed into test environment. And this is going to be a continuous process till the entire code is successfully proved to be bug free. If the testers are satisfied with the build, then the build gets promoted to the upper environment. Let us say from test environment, it's now get promoted to the UAT environment. In UAT environment, again the business users are going to start to test the application. Now the business users will do it. These are internal users within my organization. Now the business users will start testing it. They would do different type of UI testing, automation it can be, or it can be manual testing, checking if there are proper output generated for the given input. Is the user interface as per the expectation of the end user? Business users will start testing in UAT environment. And when business user finds that there are any defects, they will again log into the Kanban board. From there, the whole story will start again. But at one point of time, the user satisfaction will be happening, and that's when the code which was thoroughly tested here and found to be perfectly working even in UAT, that code will be deployed into production. When users are happy and the end user, the business users are happy, that time we deploy into production, and that's where the end users will start using the project without any bugs. So this is the entire project lifecycle. Looks very simple. Imagine if the tools are not there, how this has to be done. Lot of manual effort, lot of time taking process. But now because of all the tools like boards, repos, CI/CD pipelines, test plans which can be created for what should be thoroughly tested, a checklist of test things can be done, and then different environments which can be created in your cloud or on-prem, and the application can be deployed into each and every environment, lifted from lower environment to upper environment after thorough testing. Oh, the entire process can be done much quicker than it could have been done in the past. So this is the beauty of DevOps, and more specifically Azure DevOps, as we are bringing in different tools and services. So you see, only Azure DevOps is enough. You don't even have to see outside. Everything is here only. That's the beauty of Azure DevOps features which are given to the project in the entire project life cycle. Let's see now how the CI/CD pipelines are. Very specifically, how is CI and how is CD pipeline going to work? The work items, the bugs are in Azure boards. These are picked up by developers. Developers might use their own favorite integrated development environment like Visual Studio or VS Code, or if you're Java developers, NetBeans, and so many, JStudio, and so many are there by the community. Use some integrated development environment, build your code. First, test everything is working locally on your local machine. And when you're convinced that yes, everything is fine, you would want to push the code into the Azure repos, your Git repository. The moment the code is pushed into Azure repos, you might have pull requests created here. The code moved from one branch to the other branch. When it comes to the main branch, it might trigger a pipeline, automatic trigger. The pipeline is nothing but a collection of jobs. Imagine now this pipeline is series of tasks which have to be executed on one machine. That is called as agent machine. So what this agent machine will do, first it will pull the source code from the code repository. After that, it will install all the tools which are required for performing the build if they are not already present. Then your source code is build. That means your text format is generated to some intermediate or machine code format. This is the code which we are actually supposed to deploy in different environments. The solution is build. After you perform a build and generate some output, the build is tested. You might do unit testing. You might check if everything is working fine or not. Is the business logic implemented correctly or not for the given input? Are we getting the right output or not? Run tests. After the tests are completed, we produce artifacts. These are packaged artifacts. What is build solution? That comes maybe in the form of zip file, jar file, var file, or maybe sometimes the loose files as a folder. That's what we call it as artifact. The artifact is then published because this agent machine is going to be destroyed once the pipeline completes. So somewhere these artifacts which are produced have to be saved. They will be saved in Azure DevOps repository. Azure DevOps has got its own repository. In that, these artifacts are published. Sometimes this can be also stored as packages in Azure Artifact. So either they are saved as the pipeline artifact or they are saved as Azure artifacts. If they are reusable packages, we'll preferably save it in the Azure artifacts. And this pipeline ends. As soon as this pipeline ends, it might immediately trigger a release pipeline. A release pipeline will have multiple stages. Most of the time, this release pipeline is referred as a multi-stage pipeline. We have got dev stage, QA stage, production stage, all different stages. In each stage, we will have tasks which are responsible for downloading the artifact which was created here and publishing it to the appropriate environment. Imagine now this is dev environment. So to this dev environment, the application is published. Once it is all tested here, there can be approvals which are provided, manual approvals or automated approvals in the form of gates. Gates are automated approval. Approvals are manual approvals. Human intervention will be required. Once the approval is provided, then the application will go into QA stage where it will be deployed into QA environment. Once it is thoroughly tested here, it will go to, let's say, production. First, we might deploy into one slot, which is where the UAT testing can be performed. And once it is put into the slot, the application is thoroughly tested here. To avoid any kind of downtime, you can do a swap. What is here, you can bring it here. What is here, you can bring it here. The production with zero downtime can be upgraded to new version of the application. So people who are using, the end users who are using will, without their knowledge, shift from old version to new version of the application for subsequent requests. Don't have to worry about swapping and all that part of our training. But this is what is precisely an entire DevOps life cycle focused on CI/CD pipeline. This is DevOps life cycle, no doubt, but here is where we are focusing on the way CI/CD pipelines are going to be used. This part. Theoretically, we are seeing today, but every aspect of these things we'll have to cover practically. Azure DevOps portal, which is given to us, is absolutely free. Microsoft doesn't charge for the Azure DevOps portal. This is DevOps portal. Whereas portal.azure.com is Azure portal. Here you are going to create your environments, your QA environment, dev environment, production environment. You are going to create by using different hosting services here. This is the infrastructure which is going to be created by the IT team. And into this infrastructure which is created here, which can be a virtual machine or which can be a app service or so many other options which are available, DevOps will be responsible for deploying the application into that. For example, you see this product catalog. It has a CI/CD pipeline. It has code repository. This is my code repository. And then I have created some CI/CD pipeline. This is CI pipeline, though it is outdated, classic pipeline. This is the classic pipeline. Nowadays, all the classic pipelines are replaced with YAML pipelines. This is CI pipeline. You generate ARM templates, copy images, restore, build, publish, and then you have got CD, the release pipeline. This is the release pipeline where I'm deploying the application into different environments. Though for demo purpose, I have deployed into only one environment. We can replicate this stuff into QA and production also. This is again nothing but a series of tasks. So let us say this is my subscription, where right now you see I go to app services. And whatever I have, I'm just deleting it. There is something called as resource group. I'm cleaning off everything from here. I'll just go to the resource group and delete the entire resource group itself. So everything under that resource group will get deleted. That means there are no app services, no plans, no SQL database, no storage account, nothing. So app services will get deleted. Let me show you similarly SQL database. We don't have anything. I'll show you. We have got storage where we want to probably put images. Maybe this also we can delete. And now I'm not using this. I'm going to show you by click of a button. Just with a click of a button, I'm ensuring that the entire project is going to be deployed into the Azure app services with database and storage account. So let's say we go to the repository. We have the main project here. This is of course a .NET project. And I make a small change somewhere. Maybe index.html. Welcome to the e-commerce website for shoes. Something. And I now say commit. The moment I do commit, I can just sit back and relax. You'll see automatically it has triggered a CI pipeline. And the CI pipeline is running a series of tasks on an agent machine. All the tasks are executing on the agent machine. And at the end, we are going to see the published artifact. All these are steps in performing a build on a .NET project. You see, .NET build. Everything is published. the published content is saved as artifact, publish artifact, and in background it has already started release pipeline. But before I go there, I show you the artifact. This is the artifact. This is product catalog API.zip, product catalog web.zip, different projects and their dependencies. Now let us go to, I didn't make any changes anywhere. I'm just showing you what is happening behind the scene. There is a release pipeline which has already triggered, and right now it is only stage 1. It's going to first execute the ARM template. And this ARM template is the one which will create the Azure App Services, storage account, SQL database. All these will get created for us. Not yet. Not yet. But yes, as they are progressing, you will see that in background, a deployment is going to be performed. Under a resource group, dev demo RG. So that's the first thing we have to search for. A resource group by name. Dev demo RG. The resource group got created. And you see now a service plan, web API, web app got created. Web app is there now. Earlier we had blank. Now we'll see we have a web app and a web API. The end user will send the request to the web app. The web app will send the request to web API. The web API is going to connect to the SQL database. So we should have the SQL database also created on the fly. Not yet. It takes time. Database definitely takes a lot of time. Storage account. See, the catalog service. The storage account is created. And inside the storage account, we'll have some containers created. Not yet there, but we'll have a container created. Inside the container, we'll upload the images. No images right now. But eventually, there is a task which will copy Azure Blob file copy. This will copy all the images from my local machine to the container images. And the web application will use these images. Template done. When template done, we can be sure that even the database is created. So we'll have now an SQL database, product catalog database. So if I go back, refresh, we should have the images uploaded shortly here. The file copy is going to upload the images. All tasks, we have configured them over here. Transferred. Now come here, you should see all the images. All the images have come. Cool. Now the application is being deployed. First, web API is being deployed. After the web API, we are going to deploy the web app. You can see the entire log. These are all tasks which are running on an agent machine. And we are able to see the logs of that agent machine. All these are logs. So all the images were picked up from the artifact which was downloaded. Where is artifact downloaded? Here. The artifact will be downloaded on this particular machine. Downloading. This will take time. We'll have to, some pipelines runs for hours These are running for a few minutes, but it depends. If you have huge amount of test cases added, there are pipelines which can go for hours. Web API is deployed successfully. Now the application is getting deployed to web app, and some kind of configuration which is done for connecting the web app to web API and web API to database. Some configuration steps are here. All these are updating the environment. This is the environment. So we'll have the very soon app service up and running. So let's go there. This is the web app. A web app will have the URL. This is the URL. You can click on it and wait for it to open in the browser. See, already done. Web app is deployed. Configuration hardly takes any time. Very quickly it will upload it. Done. This is done. The moment this is done, my web app will be capable enough to connect to web API. So I click here. I get the default page where I put some text. I did what? See, I made some changes, small changes I did for shoes. And then here is the catalog. Click on it. The web app is connecting to web API. Web API is connecting to database. That's not job of DevOps engineer. It's the job of developers to build the entire web application. This is a web application. Images are coming from the storage. You can look at the details. All this data is coming from database. Back to the list, look at the catalog, and we don't have to worry about this. Developers will write all the code. It's the developer who is going to push in all the code over here. And the DevOps is responsible for creating the CI/CD pipeline, creating the environment through ARM template. And point is, you should be able to do this by the end of this training. That is the idea. You're touching near real-time scenarios. And this is what is specialization of Deccansoft. It takes you so close to real-time development. This is one such example. There are few more actually. During the training itself, we build entire project, which is like multiple stages, so many different deployment. You have YAML pipeline, multi-stage YAML pipeline. These are what I am showing you are outcomes of previous batches. I keep playing a lot with the content, so this may not be properly functioning. I keep deleting, adding a lot of stuff. I keep doing it here. So this pipeline is not showing up. Some kind of artifact pipeline. YAML is not loading. This is classic. This is classic. You have release pipeline, which will be a multi-stage pipeline, deploying into Azure App Services, Dev, QA, production, exactly the way I explained. You have got a pipeline which can deploy into virtual machine. So basically, I'm showing you what is the end goal. This is where you have to reach. You should be able to do all these things. And you'll see all these things happening in action in front of you. This is only VM. I mean, I didn't do repetition. It's the same thing if you repeat also. So there will be YAML files. I don't have it here, but yeah, probably they are deleted for some reason. Otherwise, we are supposed to have YAML files over here. This is for, this I have done for AKS pipeline, deployment into AKS cluster. So you will find that here. Not present in this. Maybe some other project. I have overwritten the code in this. But yes, you will see how to deploy into AKS. See, all these are YAML pipelines. How to deploy through Docker. Creating a Docker image, deploying into container instance, different pipelines, multi-stage YAML pipeline. Our focus is going to be definitely on YAML. That is the way things are done in the real time nowadays. How to update your SQL database, QA stage, production stage. They have commented, but they are all working. As I keep teaching, I keep commenting few things, uncommenting things. So if you look at the code, you will find in our code there is a unit test project, there is a UI test project, there is a database, there is a reusable library, main web application. Again, developers are going to do this, but we will learn the entire process step by step. You will see this entire project getting started from the immediate next session, and then one by one we are going to progress towards development. Eventually you will reach here. It's not that in one day you are going to reach here. So you will see, just showing you my entire course material which I share with you. This is the courseware which I am going to share one by one. I want you to know the journey. See, when you know where you are reaching, things become easy. So this is the journey we are going to take step by step. And here is the live project. Live project, what I showed to you, the product catalog. And entire project is repeatable by you with proper screenshots given. You can do this. The product catalog source code I am going to share with you because you're not probably the developer. What to do in each step. How a multi-layered architecture. You will be able to reproduce everything. I can challenge, nobody in the entire world can create the course which I have created. Right from basic I start, very basic I start, and I go deep into the subject, which will directly connect to the real world. The beauty is we do these things in Kubernetes too. The very popular entire project of Kubernetes is given. Step by step, you should be able to develop. This is the pipeline. I mean, these are the tasks. This is basically JSON templates, ARM templates for creating the Kubernetes cluster. And this is the YAML pipeline. You may not understand all these things at this point of time, but eventually, yes, we want to deploy this application into a Kubernetes cluster. So here there's a one pipeline which is creating the cluster, And the second pipeline is the one which is responsible for deploying the application into the cluster through CI/CD pipeline. How to edit the manifest file, what all are service connections required, and you should be able to do it. I'm not telling these are easy things. They're definitely going to take a lot of efforts from an individual, but if we can do something like this, we will be at cloud 9. You will have huge amount of confidence about Azure DevOps. Good thing is this entire series after long time I'm going to record and upload. Whatever we are going to see practically, you will find that on our website. You can go to courses and the DevOps, Microsoft Azure DevOps, and this all I'm going to replace it with the latest version. All this I'm going to replace with the latest version. So it's a pretty exhaustive course. Imagine 40 hours of delivery. You will need at least another 100 hours of practice. So around 140 hours of investment of time would be required for a person to become DevOps expert. But that's what is the end goal. You should be able to perform most of the tasks which are given to you in a real-time use case. This is all about what we are going to learn in DevOps. From here, I'll take questions. Whatever questions you have, you can just raise your hand in the chat. And those who are on YouTube, yes, you are supposed to post your questions on the chat, or you can switch over to Teams link. The team supporting me in the session today should have provided the link on the Teams. You can switch over in case you want to. And if you want, you can ask any kind of question. The sessions are going to be from 5:30 to 8 on every weekend. We will probably stick to the same time without any changes. The prerequisite is you should have either knowledge in infrastructure or development. Definitely, programming is not a prerequisite for Azure DevOps. The projects are going to be given to you ready-made. You'll use those projects. You don't have to build the projects from ground up. You will not write classes. You will not create objects. You will not set properties, call methods, handle events. No, you're not going to do all that thing. I showed you the entire project, how it is going to be. You should know the process which is required for performing the build. You should understand what the developers do on their local machine, and then you should be able to perform that task through the pipeline. So understanding of the build process, understanding of how the applications run, that is essential, and that's bare minimum, with minimal time investment you will be able to learn. So don't fear that I'm not a developer, I can't learn Azure DevOps. No, Azure DevOps is not necessary for developers. For that matter, if you go to the DevOps expert certification, this is designing and implementing Microsoft DevOps solution. This is one exam, but to become an Azure DevOps expert, you're supposed to write AZ400, which is this training about, and you're supposed to have a prerequisite knowledge of either Azure Administrator Associate or the Azure Developer Associate. You should have knowledge of one, and other you should be expert at. Any one of these two is okay. Not necessary you should be a developer and then take this. You should be an administrator and take this. You can take this first and then this, but nobody will do that. You can take these exams in any order. The importance of DevOps can be reflected by way of looking at these stars. You see, there are 3-star certificate. It's an expert level certificate. These are 2-star certificates. Definitely the value of these certificates is far less when compared to the industry 3-star certificate. It's like a heavy weight on your resume. It will not fly off. Anybody who finds that somebody is a DevOps expert in combination with one of these two, and if you can do with additional 305 Azure Architect certification, you are the most hottest cake which can be sold into the market. Huge demand is there, at least as on today. I'm not promising in 2024 something will be there, not there. Damn it, I am least bothered. Industry is so volatile. Things change pretty fast in the industry. Possibility is there by the time we end this training, something new comes up. But don't know, you have to remain upgraded at every point of time. So DevOps is one thing which I have noted has made me feel complete. I'm a developer. My main role was developer. Major part of my 27 years of experience was a developer role. Then I went into Azure, became Azure developer. But then there was always something which was scratching. I was not feeling complete. And then I had Azure infrastructure at my disposal. I had an Azure subscription through which I can exploit. So I started going deeper into Azure administration, looking at networking aspects, how to create storages, security, understood the IT aspects of the entire organization. Developer angle I already was very good at, understood IT with Azure. Now I started feeling that incompleteness because I was not able to connect this and this. I always wanted to understand how are the applications taken from the dev box into the production and what are the various factors which have to be considered. That's when I got into DevOps. That DevOps was the last thing I got into actually. Sometime in 2019, I believe I got into DevOps, and then the journey has been excellent. Now I know complete 360 degree. I'm a developer, I'm an administrator, and with my experience, I can take architectural decisions from the developer's angle, from the administrator angle. And I know how to make sure that the applications are properly deployed. Huge confidence after doing DevOps. So my suggestion to some of you here, you may not need DevOps today. Prepare for tomorrow. Don't start begging. I've seen people go and start taking tech support, start begging others, can you please help me? I already got a job. Now I have to take this task to the completion, but I don't know the procedure. Why not prepare for future? DevOps to me is something which will stay, because so many projects which are already there, people want, and I mean, I've shown you proof. What is, imagine if I was not using DevOps to deploy that application, how much time it would take. And with DevOps, it was hardly done in few minutes. In front of you, I made a small change to the code and the application got deployed step by step. So this power is going to be the reason why organizations are adopting DevOps. So it's something which will stay in the industry forever. I can say that today. Tomorrow I may be wrong again. Disclaimer. Because I've seen industries so closely. What is today will not be that, or will get absolutely transformed to something else tomorrow. Almost 2.5 decades of experience. what I was doing in way back 1995, 97, today is absolutely different. We could not even have imagined where the industry would be after so many years. So as a DevOps engineer, all the things which I showed to you in the example, you're supposed to do. Create CI/CD pipeline, set proper standards. My suggestion is the first chapter is absolutely free, I believe. Watch this chapter. As a DevOps engineer, what is that you are supposed to do? You will understand more cleanly in this particular chapter. Watch. This is once you log into the site, I believe this you can watch. You should only see this lock unlocked, or my team will make this as preview videos. You can start watching them. You can use any mirror, mirror 1 or mirror 2. Those who have enrolled for this training, you will be able to download my material from here. Chapter by chapter, you will be able to download. We go deep dive into Git. Lot of developers think they are already aware of Git repository. I'll give the dirty feeling to them that they didn't know anything about Git repository after this particular training. Everything we do manually. Ground up we will start. Branching workflows, how industry creates Git flow branching workflow, that we are going to cover. Detailed conflicts, rebasing. One of the best courses I would say you will find on this planet. Some other planet, somebody is teaching, I don't know. But on this planet, I can give you an assurance that this much content in such a systematic form, taking you step by step development, reaching ultimately the end goal of a project, you will not find anywhere. Even Microsoft doesn't teach like this. Even Microsoft, what they do is they give you code repository, you just do this like a robot, and finally output comes. Now, how did that output come? What is the story behind? What is making the dots connected? You'll never understand in most of the Microsoft trainings. That difference you'll find in my courses. So that's the edge you'll see. We go from basics. You might be a beginner, but you should be a hard worker. I don't want smart workers in my training. You think you are smart, you stay away. You are a hard worker. You want to follow me. You want to take my instructions exactly the way I give. You trust me. Take this training. You have doubt, somebody has told you something negative, absolutely feel free, don't join. With blind faith, miracles can happen. That faith is what I want, and I've done. Those who have trusted me, have faith in me, I've transformed the careers. Innumerable number. So, like a blotting paper, you should be a student if you really want to understand this particular course. Yes, it may happen that you may not understand, you will not be able to digest the entire course in one iteration. It's huge. So we let you attend multiple times. More than once you can attend. Don't have to worry about practice. We take care of the environment for you. We create the environment set up for you where you can practice the whole course. So don't worry about what I need to buy. Nothing you'll need to buy additional after you enroll for the course. I will guide you on how to set up the environment. What all softwares are needed. How to install those softwares on your local machine. Or how to set up Azure account, Azure DevOps account, connect Azure DevOps to Azure. All that we will help you in doing it, and you should be able to do it with ease. So with this said, it's now your turn to ask questions. How long can I use the recorded session? Based on the packages, you have to go to the packages. There are different packages. Azure Suite, you go to, just look at this Azure Suite. There are different packages. Based on the package which you select, you get the recorded version. Azure DevOps and Azure, if your focus is, you should compulsory enroll for Microsoft Azure Suite Plus package. Suite Plus has Azure DevOps, and another thing which people ignore in the industry but having big time demand is data engineering. Azure Data Solutions, data engineering, DP203 is also something which you get as a part of this package. And you're paying maybe some little amount, 7,000-8,000 rupees you might be paying extra here, which is definitely the worth. Minimum, I would suggest you take this. Minimum. If you are only focused on DevOps, take this. But I recommend this, where you get the knowledge of Docker, Kubernetes, Helm. Terraform is big time in the industry now. Big time it is being used in the industry. With the offers going on, these are one time, you'll never get them back again. Right? Special offers, the anniversary offers of Deckensoft, just avail it in case you want. We will close these in couple of days. All these offers will go away. You will not find them in the next week. Next 1 year you'll have to wait. We'll come back again with these offers. Then how do you join the course? As soon as you enroll, you'll get an email from us, which will have all the required instructions which you are supposed to follow to activate your Azure subscription, and be ready with your ID, which I'm going to use in the next session for activating your account. You can find the courses which you have enrolled for on your dashboard. You can just log in. After login, go to dashboard, and you'll find all the courses which you have been given subscription over here. I think I'm just trying to see what can be common set of questions which will come, and I'm trying to answer them first. Will I show the code? I'll not. In this training, we are not going to build the code. We'll create projects. We'll work with default templates. Very little amount of coding we are going to do. Very, very little amount of coding. Zero coding, you can say actually. Coding is not the focus in this particular training. So be sure about it. So the live classes are conducted every week, 5:30 to 7:30 or 8, 2.5 hours. Maybe I'll take you to. I want to learn Docker, Kubernetes, microservices also from you. Please let me know what is the best and decent package for me to opt. If you really want to learn Azure DevOps, microservices, Docker, Kubernetes, simply go for gold membership. There cannot be anything better than gold membership. You get unlimited access to the entire video kit for 1 year. You get the discount vouchers for certification exam. You get 12 months access to the Azure portal in our shared subscription, subject to, of course, Microsoft giving it to us. We'll give it to you. If Microsoft stops it, we will not be able to do anything. But till that time, we give you the facility to practice, and so many other benefits you can see over here. It's genuinely gold. All courses which we may launch in the coming 1 year, in the time of your subscription, you'll have access to. I'm really getting inclined towards AI and ML, cognitive services and machine learning. Don't know. The moment I get time, I will probably jump into that. I've been pretty versatile from my initial days of the career. How the industry tilts, I get aligned to that. And that's how I create my growth path. So right now I'm already doing Docker and Kubernetes courses. I completed Docker. I'm now doing Kubernetes. You can see all the batches here. Go to this URL. You'll see all the running batches. You may, if you are a gold membership, get into any batch randomly. You will get invite for every batch. Any batch you can get in, attend the classes. And so right now I'm doing Kubernetes. It's already started on 10th. You can jump in this. This is the suite batch which I started today morning. The course has started, actually started yesterday, but still doing theory. Next week onwards, practical will start. So all the running batches are here, ongoing events and batches. and the upcoming batches are here. Today is the demonstration. This will go away tomorrow, and it will start getting listed in the existing batches. So a lot of effort goes. This entire process, this whole website is actually built in .NET and deployed using DevOps in Azure portal. So all our team is well aware about how to use this. That's the beauty. So yeah, these are the few questions. I'm taking questions on YouTube first. Any special consideration for gold membership? No, nothing. What is listed on site is the same price for everyone. Your old student, you are the one who have maximum used me. That's the benefit you got. New students are going to use me later. You already reaped the benefit. So you should actually pay extra. Do you need prior Terraform expertise for IAC or this course covers it? Terraform we don't teach. Terraform configuration files, how to execute through DevOps pipeline, that I cover in the DevOps course. But Terraform by itself is a separate course. You might be interested in that to enroll in case you want to go deeper. If I'm a .NET developer working now with Azure Function Apps development part of me, which course is better as Azure DevOps as developer profile? If you are a .NET developer, I don't have anything better than gold membership, to be honest. Your level of expertise in the subject is going to be extremely different with .NET. If you are a .NET developer, you can use me to the core. Maximum benefit people get is those who are .NET expert. So get into gold membership, the best. At least DevOps expert, Azure Suite Plus otherwise. Minimum is Azure Suite Plus. This is the minimum. After this, direct gold membership. I heard coding knowledge is required for CI/CD pipeline. Again, damn it, this is the problem. I keep telling people again and again. I told so clearly, you don't need coding knowledge. Some Tom, Dick and Harry will tell you something and you'll start believing it. Only through experience. I've shown you the pipeline. In practical, I've shown you the pipeline. Did I anywhere show you the code? Did I anywhere say you should write this class, you should do this and that? No. So coding knowledge is not required for becoming DevOps expert. Idiots, fools in the industry are making that statement. I'm probably blunt, but that's a fact. Unnecessary confusion is being created. DevOps is not a developer. Dev and ops, operations and development combination. That does not make you developer. You only need to understand the code, how it is built. Yeah, that's necessary. No doubt in that. Python and Linux basic knowledge required for DevOps? No, I'm not a Python expert. I'm not a Linux expert. Very clear. I don't even know Linux. I don't even know Python. Python I learned of late, but I started teaching DevOps much before I learned Python. Yeah, these are the questions. Now I'll take questions from Teams. First, Omid. Omid, your question, please. You have to unmute and talk quick. Harshini, go ahead.
Hello.
Omid, go ahead first.
Yes. Sorry. Could you please explain about how to separate and design CI/CD pipeline for provisioning of the Azure infrastructure resources?
That's part
And
of
the
the
second
training.
question.
We will do that
And the
in the
second
training.
part. Okay, it will cover, in the course.
Yep. I showed you already, right? One pipeline for
Yeah.
creating the infrastructure, which creates a Kubernetes cluster. Another pipeline for deploying the application into the Kubernetes cluster.
Yeah.
So
And the
that's
second my
how
question
to
is
perform manually. We'll see step by step.
okay. Okay, great. And the second my problem, my question is related to the price of the courses. Yeah, I think you provide a 90% discount
Talk to
for
Kashmira
courses.
about any course. Talk to Kashmira. 90% is not on all courses. So talk
Okay.
to
Okay.
Kashmira. She will give you the prices. Talk to me only technical
Oh,
stuff.
okay. No problem. Thanks.
Harshini,
Yeah. Will you even show us how to deploy the Angular application? I mean, if it is.
Angular, there is nothing to do in DevOps. It's a browser side part which executes. So DevOps has zero role in Angular.
Yeah. But I mean, how can we do it deploy those Angular
That's what
files
I'm
like?
telling you. Angular is part of HTML pages. HTML pages executes in browser. Now inside the HTML pages, you have Angular, you have got CSS, you have got Bootstrap. DevOps is not
Correct.
worried about those things. So it's a developer who is supposed to take care of that part. Clear? DevOps has no role to play in Angular. And nothing in DevOps should be specific to a particular language or technology. It has to be generic. I have to use one language for teaching and I'm good at .NET, so I use .NET. I don't even talk about server-side coding, client-side coding, nothing. Clear? Arpit.
I mean, the reason for asking is in my last project, we were using, I'm sorry for the disturbance.
It's okay.
We have used the like Angular project too. So they were using like those were like, I mean, I couldn't follow the process. So that's the reason I was just interested in knowing how
Do you
we
know
will
Angular?
actually use. Yeah, I know Angular,
So
but
what
I
you
don't
do
know
to
the
build an
release
Angular
process
project?
for that.
You do a build for Angular project. NPM build you use for
Correct,
Angular project.
correct, correct,
That
correct.
NPM build step you can add to DevOps. Nothing more than that can be done. So once you go
Okay.
through this training, you'll automatically get an idea about that aspect. You're not able to
Okay.
connect dots right now because you don't know the entire circle. You don't know everything. That you'll understand once you go through the training. So this question will become insignificant once you know the DevOps process. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Sorry for the
Arpit.
disturbance.
Yeah, it's okay. Arpit.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good
Sir, I have a couple of questions. Like, sir, what is agile tools?
I'm not taking any technical questions after. All technical questions we'll do it when we start the course.
Okay, so sir, you show
Agile
that. That's
rules
why
is again not part of my training. I don't want to get into agile process and stuff. Though little bit of agile I have covered in my introductory session. So I would suggest if you are really interested in knowing very entry level agile, just go to this topic and watch what is DevOps and its benefit. Here, very basic level I have covered. No, sorry, this one, the first one about waterfall model and agile development.
Okay, sir. And sir, I will watch this. And sir, what is UAT, version controls, artifacts?
Gradually, we will learn. Don't worry too much about the terminology. It's too
Okay.
much for one day to cover everything. We'll take step by step everything.
Okay. And sir, this session which is available on the YouTube as well, when the session will end.
Today's session will be there, yes, on YouTube, but not subsequent sessions.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Chitranjan.
Yeah, hello. Sir, I just want to know that in this course you will also provide Docker, Kubernetes, and
No,
Angular
no. This
scripting.
is purely DevOps course. Docker is a
Okay.
separate course. Kubernetes is a separate course. Terraform is a separate course. The timings will be different, but all those will be recorded and uploaded. I am already doing Kubernetes. I'm not going to do Kubernetes at least for next 6 months. I already finished Docker. So those things one will have to probably watch through videos. They're pretty well recorded this time. I'm revamping the entire content step by step. So once I finish this DevOps batch, I may not take a new DevOps batch for next 6 months.
Okay.
I want to
This is a
move
po-
on to providing more content through recorded version than every time teaching the same thing again and again. So lot of changes are happening to the course, and everything I teach will be available through this portal. You will get access. Suppose I'm teaching something today, tomorrow, day after, or 2 or 3 days, they'll upload it here after processing that in the background. So
So,
be
yes,
prepared to
sir.
learn with me, without me, through videos also. Some of these modules, especially the later stages, you will have only access through videos. You will not, I will not teach live. I will cover those important modules which need my time, which needs explanation, interaction. But some less significant topics, I may probably delegate it as videos instead of teaching them again.
Okay. Sir, once I enrolled in this program, it's also recorded that Docker Kubernetes recorded video also I can able to get it, right?
Depends on the package which you have opted for. Choose the right
Okay.
package. Choose the right package. Based on the package you choose. Here it is there.
DevOps Expert Plus. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay.
Nagaraju. Satyanand Reddy. Guys, you should be very fast.
Hello. Hi, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
In artifacts, it is NuGet and the Noven and NPN. What will use that? That is in a tools. NuGet with using any tool. That is in a tool.
NuGet is for .NET. NPM is for Node.js. Maven is for
Okay.
Java. So those are
Okay.
reusable packages in the respective languages.
See, actually, in case I'm using .NET project, we will use NuGet only.
Correct. That NuGet
what is the
library is currently connected to NuGet.org. That we will change to the one which we have put in DevOps.
Okay. And the next thing in the CI/CD pipelines, YAML and Classic will be there. Now, what is the role of YAML? That is in a
All technical questions, postpone it. Right? They will come as a part of training. It's a question which has to be answered in hours. Cannot be answered in one sentence. So my request to all of you today is don't ask any technical questions. Only logistics questions related to what you are going to learn, you ask. Technical questions will take from next session, and
Okay,
that will be
fine.
relevant to the topic in which we are dealing with. These are, see, I gave a very, very broad picture today. Like I told in one of the sessions, I've only given a menu of the restaurant to you today. You have only seen the menu. The actual food is supposed to be served yet. So looking at menu,
Oh,
you will not be able to understand the taste of the content, right? So you'll have to wait. Let the food get served, and that time you can take I will take all the questions. Every question I'm going to take. Excuse me today for denying it.
okay.
Mahmood,
Thank you, sir. Sir, how many hours should I dedicate? Because we will
100.
learning on weekends. So daily basis, can you help me?
Total 100 hours you should delegate to become what I know you should know. How much I know for you to know, your 100 hours are needed.
we can parallelly
In
learn both.
context of DevOps alone, I'm saying,
Oh,
Azure Suite by itself is 100 hours. So there 300 hours. So 300 plus my 100, 400 hours of investment of time will be needed from you. If I am teaching 1 hour, I'll need your 2 hours extra for practice, for looking at the videos again. At least 2 more additional hours. For every hour of my delivery, 2 additional hours you have to add. That's why I teach only on 2 days in a week. And then you have to split all this practice for rest of the week. So if you're thinking that you will only be occupied for 2 hours and rest of the week you can still enjoy and come back next week, it is going to be one Bollywood movie or Hollywood movie. You'll get that masala and everything, but you will not learn anything. You will not become the actor in the movie. You will remain a viewer who enjoyed the class for 2-3 hours but ultimate outcome will be zero. So if you want to really learn and become the way I am, you have to practice. Every hours of my delivery will require 2 hours of your investment to become what I am. Okay, I'm ready to compromise, Sandeep. I'm okay to become 50% of what you are, 25% of what you are, 5% of what you are. You split, your choice. From me, there will be no obligation for practice. You have to practice it. I'll motivate you. I'll give you steps on how to practice. But to really practice, you need to put efforts.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
Who is next? Prahal. Dinkar.
Hi, sir. This is Vinkar here. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, actually, I need how to deploy an Python code on a Azure using CI/CD. Will be this available in our course, which we are?
I don't know. Suddenly this thing is coming up.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Python is hardly 2 lines, one task. Copy task. Python is as good as copy task. It's a bacha, ordinary, basic stuff. After I teach you much advanced level, that is very, very, very basic. So, yeah, maybe one example I'll show you how to build a Python application and deploy it to the Azure portal.
Okay, sir. Means it would be in only two, just like copying the artifacts and deploying it.
That's all. What is there in Python, man? It's all source code you directly deploy, right? You hardly do a build. Rarely you do a build. So Py files, you just deploy them into the appropriate server.
Yes, but there is basically writing the YAML files, right?
That is detailed training done. Detailed. You will be able to do it with these. Okay.
Okay, sir. And you said it would be there would be any live sessions for doubt clearance, or it is only
This is live session only. Every day I'll teach. Every day I'll take questions like this. I mean, every weekend I teach. I take questions like this.
There are no weekdays practice?
No,
Any weekdays
I
practice?
don't have time to teach. Rahul.
Yeah, hi Sandeep sir. Sandeep sir, I have already booked for the Azure suite. I just wanted to check if I also I'm looking forward to DevOps plan. So Azure suite plus is the one that suits me the best.
Talk to
But
Kashmira.
just one thing.
Talk to Kashmira. If it is upgrade package, talk to Kashmira.
Okay. No, actually, I wanted to check one thing regarding this. So if at all I get a chance to change the plan, the number of hours I will have to invest on weekends will be 7 to 11 in morning and then 5:30 to 7:30 in evening, right?
If you're able to, otherwise join next batch. Or start looking at videos on other days. There will be same content, man. If you're able to, it is the best.
Yeah, because 6 hours I may not be able to provide.
I'm teaching, man.
Unfortunately.
I'm teaching.
So that
So
was
you should
something
be
I
able
wanted
to
to check.
listen.
Right, yes. Got your point. Thank you, Sandeep.
Yeah. Who is next? Prahal is over. People who have done, please turn your hands down. Kiran.
Yeah, hi sir. I have question like so I enrolled for both aged 104 and 400. So because in the 400 we are dealing with resource and all these groups, right? I mean databases for the deployment, right? So really do we need to complete the 104 before we are
No,
coming
you
to
can do
Azure?
it parallel. Do it parallel. I'm teaching like that only, right? The reason
Correct,
starting
but,
parallel
we
is
should
that only. That you should be able to do this and that.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, and second question, sir. So, for example, Azure DevOps, you said no, that other portal dev.azure.com. So, that absolutely free for we can do our, I mean, practice and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
For practice and all, it is free. For organizations, they would not be sufficient with the free limitations.
Okay.
So they will have to buy. For us, we don't need to.
No, in that we are deploying all the databases,
Yep,
web
yep.
applications, everything,
DevOps
right? So
portal
are
is not for deployment. Deployment will happen in Azure. DevOps is only for running the pipeline.
okay. So ultimately, we will deploying in the Azure portal only. I mean, Azure.
Azure portal is not free.
Okay, okay. So here just to create the pipelines.
That's it. Harita.
Hi Sandeep, I'm your old student actually. So basically I have a .NET background, but currently I'm into managerial position. Hope this course will help me in mapping towards the technical things back. And if there are any others,
People management or technology management?
Sort of both the combinations, Sandeep.
When did you do the
Majorly
course?
towards
How many years of
Not-
experience?
not this course. I was a previous student with C#.NET. I have
That's
taken
what I'm
course.
asking. How many years back that was?
Maybe around 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
WPF, yeah. So currently I'm majorly towards people management, but a very light touch towards technical. So will this course will help me?
This is technology course.
Yeah.
People will not be
But-
able to fool you after doing this.
Yeah, that was my intention to take. I already enrolled to this course, but I just want to check, and I just want to check if you suggest any other courses that will be helpful towards my managerial path or something.
No, I'm more of a technical guy. Project
Uh,
management,
like-
PMP.
Or anything related to Power BI or data analysis, what you were suggesting as part of our
Even
today's
that
course.
is, I mean, is that role of yours require them?
Currently no,
So
but will that be helpful if I get myself updated?
are you a decision maker on technology for the organization?
Not
Then unless, I mean, you have to check, right? How will you make use of Power BI, Power Platform? They are the ones which are going to be really popular in coming days, but today they are not so popular.
Okay.
But if you are planning for all these things, I think you can easily afford. The best gift you can give to yourself is gold membership. There is no limit on technology which you can learn here. And being in the role of manager, you should have touch on everything.
Yes.
You should be able to take the decisions on this is better technology, that is better technology, and the generation below you should be able to apply that with ease, and you should be able to guide them. I lead my organization from the front, so I know how much important is the knowledge of subject. They can't fool me. They cannot come and tell me, Sandeep, this was the problem and I could not solve it, and this solution is not going to work for. No, that will not happen with me. So
Yes.
that is because I know all these things.
Yes, Sandeep. Yeah. So with that intention, I have enrolled for this current course. So if anything that you suggest additionally, I am happy to take that.
See, if you are in that role, I can tell you gold membership is affordable by you if blindly go for it. You are gifting your next birthday, whenever it is coming, advance gift you are giving to yourself. Think of it like that. I am telling you, you will tell me after some time what benefit you have got. There are 400 members, active members in gold membership. Just imagine. It's a huge. Malikarjun.
Thanks, Sandeep.
Iger, you can.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, Malikarjun.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Sir, actually, I'm working as a Nexthink admin in one of the organization. So I was completed AZ 900, and still I'm working. I'm ready to take AZ 104 a background. I'm learning. So I'm thinking to complete to move Azure DevOps side. So will this course help us to crack the interview?
Oh,
That's
that's
my
the
question.
purpose, man.
Yeah,
If you
because-
learn and don't crack the interview, what is the use? But don't
Yeah,
come and ask me,
live-
Sandeep, give me interview question. Overall, you learn. They can ask you anything and you should be able to answer.
Yeah, real time they will ask no majority of the cases because that is the reason. Yeah. Okay, sir. And one more thing, is there any PDF we do have, like what are the services you will cover here? Generally, we use Azure Kubernetes services in Azure portal, Azure Container Registry. So is there any PDF
The
format or
syllabus
document?
which you are asking, right?
Syllabus. Yes, yes,
You
yes.
can go
you're
to
right.
our
Yeah.
site, go to the respective course.
Okay.
and download the curriculum.
Okay. Okay. Is there? Okay. Fine. I'll check from there.
Yeah. So I take few more questions. I'm already Azure Solution Architect. Fantastic. How will I get live session classes in case I miss? This is where you will get all the classes recorded. Is Data Factory part of Azure Suite Plus? Yes, Data Factory is part of Azure Data Engineering, and Data Engineering is part of Azure Suite Plus. Seems some audio delay in Teams. I posted my question on the Teams chat. Okay, what is the question? I don't see anything on Teams chat. Oh, a lot of questions here I didn't see. For project manager, Harita, I answered. Can one non-IT guy opt for this course? Non-IT means what? Is the big question. If you have not touched software industry at all, don't go for this course. If you have worked with some kind of IT software, yes, you can definitely learn. Take the route of Azure administration and Azure DevOps, but attend at least 2 batches. At least 2 times you attend the course. Then what time the training would happen? Same 5:30 to 8. Most of the questions are answered. Sandeep seems from audio dealer. What is the price for gold membership? Look at the page on the site and you have the prices listed. If you go here, you'll see all packages price. Go to gold membership, you'll see the gold membership price. Yeah, you can also avail for a EMI offer, low cost EMI you can opt for. Just look at that. Gold membership, I think there is a 10% rebate on the fees if you are enrolling today or tomorrow. That's it for, I think today, tomorrow that rebate is offered. What is the price? Thank you. That's it. I think we are done. Almost all done on Teams, all done on. That's all, guys. Thanks for being there with me for this particular session. Hopefully you will join. Otherwise, also very best of luck to you all. Keep watching
Sandeep.
many upcoming sessions on YouTube. I keep connecting on YouTube pretty frequently. You can definitely hit the like button if you like the session. You can also subscribe to our channel to get regular notifications so that you can upskill yourself in the technology. Thank
Yes,
you.
Sandeep, can you hear me?
And Prahal, yeah, yes, I can.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.